Sup, y'all? It's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I saw the other day that I think warrants a bit of a discussion, and that is class trials. Now, before I get into what they are, I do kind of want to say one thing, which is I am getting this information from a screenshot from the Legion Alpha, and so of course it could be photoshopped or something else like that, but it's probably not, and it is in the game files apparently, but it could never make it to live, or it could make it to live tomorrow, and the fact that I think it probably will increase the sales on the 100 boosts probably is going to be in the game. So anyway, I just want to say that right now because this could probably potentially never happen, but I do think that it will, considering that it is already coded into the game. Now, what are class trials? Now, right now, whenever you make a character, that character starts at level 1 unless you make the character at level 1 and then boost it up to 100. Now, class trials are a little bit different, where you make the character at 100 and then you have a limited time to be able to play that character, and then whenever probably that time ends, you're able to use your level 100 boost token, and that's kind of what I'm assuming. If you're probably not going to be able to do this unless you have a boost credited onto your account, but I don't really know. Either way, whenever the trial ends, or whenever you want to stick with that one class, you can use your boost on that character, and basically that would keep that character at 100 instead of having it probably deleted or unplayable or something else like that. Now, I kind of have mixed feelings about this, and there are obviously a lot of caveats that are not really very fleshed out. This is a screenshot, so I mean, like, I'm kind of gonna be doing a little bit of assuming. Okay, now one thing that I definitely hope doesn't happen is that they add this into the game and they allow people that do this this class trial to queue for battlegrounds, to queue for dungeons, or to queue for LFR. That seems like a bad time for everybody, and I don't really think that they'll do that. I think it would be okay for the character to enter raids potentially, and that also opens up a potential for something else that we're going to talk about in a second here. But of course, I think you guys might remember, like, whenever they introduced the 90 boost, and then not Hellfire Citadel, Throne of Thunder LFR 1, Last Stand of the Zandalari. Oh boy, that was the worst fucking day of my life. And I did used to do LFR every once in a while, and people told me that it was really bad. I went in there. It was really bad, and so I really hope that they make sure that the people who do the class trial are not able to queue for the automated queuing systems or anything else like that, just so they don't inconvenience other people whenever they're still trying to learn their class. Now, if they do pass the Silver Proving Grounds, I don't really see a problem with them. If they already passed Silver Proving Grounds, that obviously means that they know how to play the class, so I don't really see a problem with them queuing in Heroics or something like that. But Battlegrounds is a little bit different. But I do hope that Blizzard does keep that out of the class trials, just to kind of preserve and not frustrate their existing players. Now, another thing also this kind of opens up is you could potentially make a character, or not make a character, but make a class trial character, go through all of the Cataclysm 25-man heroic raids, or any raid that you want to do a mount run for, like Dragon Soul, and then delete the character and then do another class trial. Now, that is very, very efficient, and you can effectively do that as many times as you want. Now, I don't really know if you're going to be able to do this, but unless there's a limit on how many that you can make or something else like that, and if there was, then that would open up other problems. So I think this could potentially be a good way to make some extra gold if this is added into the game. And as you guys know, I do try to always, like, whenever something else like this comes out, I always like to look at, like, what are the angles here? What can I get out of this? What can I abuse about this? That's basically what I'm trying to say. So anyway, I think that's probably one of the big ones. Also, I would say probably one-time only class quests. Obviously, Shadowmourne would take too long for you to get, like, the Tabard of the Lightbringer and go through all that, and then also farm Invincible at the same time. I don't really think that would be realistic, but there are other things that are more realistic, like just weekly Dragon Soul runs or something else like that you could do with these class trials. Now, is this necessarily a good idea in general for the game? Now, and this is kind of what I do have mixed feelings about. Now, at a certain level, I do think that people should have to level up a character in order to play it. And, I've been back and forth really about the whole thing. Like, is, like, having the 90 or the 100 boosts a good idea? Now, personally, I think they could potentially take them out of the game in the next expansion or something else like that, but I wouldn't expect that to happen anytime soon. I do think that at a certain level, like, if you're not able to level up your character, you're just thrown into the game, you have no idea what the fuck you're doing, and, you have all all these buttons. You have, what does this do? What does that do? You know, it always seemed like kind of a recipe for disaster, and it seemed like it would overwhelm people, especially new players coming into the game. You just buy the game, you take it home, you install it, you've got a level 100 character. What the fuck are all these buttons? What are all these menus? Why am I in a garrison? What the hell is a garrison? Right? So it seems, very overwhelming for people, and I think that's probably what happens to a lot of new players whenever they come into the game and use the boost, which I think probably most people would do just because they'd want to get through and get into, I guess, like the end game as soon as possible with how in-game centric the game has become. So in that way, I do think that the boosts are a negative thing. Now, at the same time, I do think that the boosts are positive in the way that they allow people to come back to the game without having to level all the way up and immediately start playing with their friends. Now, obviously, that's a very positive thing, and social interaction is, I've said many times before, is one of the two key element things that I think every MMO needs. So, in that way, I do think that the boosts are important, but with how easy leveling is now, it's like kind of hard to really say that you really need the boost. But at this point, they're already in the game, and, with the clash trials going into the game, I don't really see this necessarily being a bad thing. While I might not like the overlying or like kind of the like the overarching paradigm or system of being able to boost the character, the clash trials coming into the boost I don't really think is going to be a bad thing unless they allow those players to be able to do certain things that I think are going to be in one way or another frustrate existing players. And especially with making sure that character isn't able to talk in chat, in trade chat or something like that to prevent gold sellers, but then they actually have to buy a boost. But do they have to buy a boost before they do that? Again, this is all from one screenshot, right? So it's very hard to tell. Let me read out and tell you guys what exactly it says. So, and I'll just put it on the screen so you guys can see and we can read along together. Character type, you've got the new level 1 character, obviously. And clash trial, create a new level 100 character and try it for a limited time. You have an option to apply a boost token to this character at the end of the trial. So this would allow players to, come back and obviously be able to play a level 100 character or test out a new class before they want to use a boost on it. Now, in that way, I don't really consider that a bad thing. And the reason for that is because, if you play a mage or you play like a warlock or a warrior, like let's say you play a warrior at like level 10, okay, level 10, and you've got Mortal Strike and you've got Rend and you have Execute, then I don't even know. So basically you've got all the buttons, right? And then you're like, man, this is going to be awesome. Whenever I boost my character up to 100, I'm going to have 1,000,000 buttons, right? So you boost your warrior up to 100 and you don't. You don't. You have the same amount of buttons, and you're in basically the same place, doing basically the same thing, and it could be potentially very boring for people. And so how a class plays in leveling isn't necessarily how it's going to play at max level. So allowing people to kind of just like play around with the class before they boost it up, I don't really consider this a bad thing, but I do, as I said before, ultimately think that the boosts are probably create a little bit too much harm than good. But I don't really see them going away either, which is really why I don't talk about them too much. But anyway, guys, very interesting idea. Legion's coming in with a lot of things that seem like kind of common sense, and seem like there being some good decisions made, at least with the position that we're at now. With already boost being in the game, clash trials seem like a pretty reasonable and a good addition to that. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think. I'm still kind of on the fence about this. Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I think it's kind of good, but I can see why some people would think it's bad. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I've got. If you guys, let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I'm curious because I'm looking to be convinced one way or another. But anyway, that is pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.